Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. So we talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey, and subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Now, Georgetown is parted ways with Patrick Ewing. A lot of people saw this coming, and finally it happened. Patrick Ewing is no longer the head coach of the Georgetown Hoyas. I'm going to go over Patrick Ewing's career at Georgetown, and whether this is the right decision for the Hoyas, and what's going to be the future for the Georgetown basketball team. Now, Patrick Ewing's obviously a legend of the school. He's an icon. He was a great basketball player for Georgetown in the 80s, and he's a big reason, along with John Thompson, for why everybody knows how great Georgetown used to be as a program. The Hoyas used to be a formidable force in basketball, but lately, the past decade, they've been really struggling, and they hired Patrick Ewing a few seasons ago to try to bring back Georgetown's name and get them back on the map, but it just did not go well overall for his tenure as the head coach of Georgetown, even though Patrick Ewing did have a few reasons why things went wrong. He started out in his first season as the Georgetown head coach 15-15. They were 5-13 in the Big East. That wasn't a terrible debut season, even though they didn't have the best record in the world and they missed the tournament. It obviously wasn't the worst, and there were signs that Georgetown could improve under Patrick Ewing. But then in his second season, they went 19-14 and 9-9 in the Big East, and they made the NIT, so there was improvement. And a lot of people saw that Patrick Ewing maybe could be a good coach for Georgetown, and that things were starting to trend in the right direction. But then they went 15-17 and 5-13 the next season after that, and they actually started the season out really well that year. They had James Akinjo and Matt McClung on that team, and they were really good players for Georgetown, but unfortunately that season got derailed because Patrick Ewing had to kick two players off the team, and then Georgetown started to go downhill, and after that season, James Akinjo transferred to Arizona, and Matt McClung transferred to Texas Tech, and after that, Georgetown was never able to recover. If that had not have happened, and they were able to keep that team together, Georgetown probably would have been an NCAA tournament team, and maybe Georgetown could have started to get more and more players in the future, because Georgetown would have been a school that a player could have success at, and maybe they could have gotten some more recruits, but Georgetown just started to go downhill after that, and Patrick Ewing did the right thing, kicking those two players off the team, but when he lost the other players like Matt McClung and James Akinjo, just things started to go downhill, and then they went 13-13 and 7-9 in the Big East after that, and they did make the NCAA tournament, but that was only because they won the Big East tournament that year, so you could kind of chalk that up as a bit of a fluke. That was awesome for Patrick Ewing to make the NCAA tournament, but still only having a 13-13 season and squeaking in by the auto bid of the Big East tournament is not really showing signs of progress. And then the last two seasons, Georgetown went 6-25 and 0-19 in the Big East, and they went 7-25 and 2-18 in the Big East, and overall winning only 2 games in the Big East Conference in the last 2 years, and only having a 13-15 record overall is awful. And again, part of it's not Patrick Ewing's fault. Things were just going downhill, but still, even when he had success, Georgetown was never playing at a high level, and overall, it really stinks for Patrick Ewing to have to go out this way with Georgetown. He's such an icon of the school, and he will forever be an icon of Georgetown, even though his head coaching tenure just did not go well. And overall, he had a 75-109 record, and he was 28-81 in the Big East. He was not able to bring Georgetown back. It's going to take a lot for the Hoyas to get back on track. Georgetown, like DePaul and a lot of other programs that used to be great back in the day, is just not playing good basketball right now, and it would have been awesome for Patrick Ewing to come in as a legend of the school and turn Georgetown around, and he showed signs of almost getting there, and there were moments where Georgetown looked like they were starting to trend in the right direction, but things just did not turn out well, and Patrick Ewing just could not right the ship, and at the end of the day, he ended up having to part ways with the school, because you don't want Patrick Ewing to go out in a bad look, and it also was the right decision by Georgetown to part ways with Patrick Ewing because they need a future, and Patrick Ewing was not going to be able to turn it around. He was trying to bring in some transfers. This past offseason, they brought in Brandon Murray from LSU and Jay Heath from Arizona State, but they just cannot find success. Overall, Georgetown had some solid players, but Patrick Ewing could just not work with what he had, and Georgetown was just going to continue to keep losing. And again, for Patrick Ewing, the best thing that he could do is part ways with Georgetown. So possibly in the future, Georgetown can have some more success because it's just not happening right now. But Georgetown in the future, they're going to have to find a way to compete with the NIL space and be able to bring in some more players, because whoever they get as a head coach, Mike Rhodes from VCU is a viable option that a lot of people are bringing up. But there's probably a lot more options that Georgetown could get, and they could try to sell the fact that Georgetown used to be a great program in the past. But if they cannot support the program and the athletics department cannot get Georgetown in a place where they can compete in the Big East against Villanova and Creighton and UConn and all these other top teams in the Big East right now, then it's going to be really tough for the next coach to come in and win no matter who it is. It could be a guy that's a really solid coach that has a lot of experience, but he could come in and just not have any success at all because he's not able to bring in the players, and he's not going to be able to get enough talent into the program to get Georgetown back where they used to be back in the 80s and 90s when they were really good, and even when they had some good years back in the early 2010s. 2010s and late 2000s. But Georgetown is a great program. Hopefully the next coach can come in, if it's Mike Rhodes from Virginia Commonwealth or some other coach. I'm sure there's going to be a long list of candidates that will be viable for the Georgetown job, and will definitely take consideration for it. Georgetown used to be a great program. They have a lot of history as a program. I hope they can get back on track, because college basketball is much better when Georgetown is good. And if they can get things going in the Big East again, then it will definitely make the conference better overall. But again, for Patrick Ewing, he is a legend of the school. That will never change. Georgetown, even though they're losing Patrick Ewing as head coach, they're never going to lose him as a figure of the school. He had a great career as a player. He had a great long NBA career, and he definitely tried to bring Georgetown back to heights that he had in the past, but things just did not go his way. But that's not going to change what Patrick Ewing has meant for the Georgetown program. He did everything he possibly could for Georgetown as the head basketball coach, but it worked out the right way for him to part ways with Georgetown, and hopefully in the future with the next head basketball coach, Georgetown can get back on track and be able to be the force in college basketball that they once were. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below what you think about Patrick Ewing parting ways with Georgetown as the head coach, whether you think this was the right move by Georgetown and Patrick Ewing, and whether you think the next head basketball coach of Georgetown can definitely turn the program around. Follow me on Twitter as well, and I will see you next time.